we could see something really interesting here. And we do have both racers off. Probably going to see fireb0rn ahead real time, if nothing else, for most of this race, because fireb0rn is pretty well known for having a powerful computer. And Hollow Knight is a game which runs a lot faster on faster computers. That's why we are using the load remover timer. So don't just pay attention to what you see on screen. The number at the end of the game is the only thing that'll matter for determining who wins. Right, 51.98 on fireb0rn side against a 53.45. Basically, from the very start, really just making a beeline towards False Knight, the first boss, Vengeful Spirit, the first upgrade. Not a lot can really go wrong here. Just looking to do basic movement well and not fall off of the route. You know, the most annoying thing about their current movement situation is how difficult it is to recover from mistakes, more than anything else. So we'll see that possibly in just a few seconds here. Going into the first arena of the game, have to kill 3 aspids really quickly here. And the scary thing that can happen here is you miss your kill setup, the aspids can float away from you, and you can lose several seconds in this room just trying to chase them down. That's the sort of issues that can crop up when you don't have dash or wall jump. Stuff that really lets you quickly chase down an enemy with 1 hit left. But both runners handling that very well, and we have an effective tie at this point. Literally hundredths of a second apart right now. Couldn't ask for anything better. And so yeah, really no issues on either side. Good geo counts. Heading into False Knight, which is the first boss of the game. This category will not be defeating False Knight. It's generally something you see the longer runs do. Here, though, just have to hit him 13 times to knock him over. And then, once he gets back up, he'll do a little tantrum and open a shortcut to let them skip the boss fight. Yeah, there can be a little bit of RNG on this fight. False Knight can choose to jump away from you, but really one of the more consistent parts of the game. And yeah, so with this, both runners will be chasing down the Vengeful Spirit upgrade. Pretty much required to complete the game, barring extraordinarily slow and difficult skips to prevent needing it to get out of Forgotten Crossroads. And we'll be seeing this a lot for combat, movement, just about anything. This spell has a lot of utility. It is sort of funny. We already see fireb0rn pulling off to a 3-second lead in real time. Believe the race is actually quite close, so if you adjust the timers. Probably just the exceptionally long load, and oh my, is that a Balder spit or what? Tombo taking a very substantial early lead on Balder spits. Not the first time in this tournament that Balder spits have intervened to help the underdog. So we may be revisiting this topic if Tombo should beat fireb0rn by 2 to 3 seconds. So I'm sure fireb0rn will have very choice words about that RNG. 7 spits is 1 in 128 outcome. Odds of getting better RNG is going to be over 98%. That is really bad. But yeah, so definitely not great. fireb0rn can probably expect to make up a fair bit of time on Tombo on movement, but anything can happen, and this definitely removes a bit of leeway, as we do see on the loads there. Tombo's 5 seconds ahead, entering green path. All right, in this room Tombo is in. Gonna see fireball skip, just using that little bit of air stall from the spellcast to cross an otherwise untraversable gap. Saves quite a bit of time compared to the intended route through green path. Another fireball skip in this room, not quite as important, still very good to get. Really just staying even, no major mistakes from either runner. Both are doing the quote-unquote new geo route from around really the start of this year. Skipping geonodes and green path and going to kill Vengefly King instead. Big part of the skip is being able to kill Vengefly King from the right. That lets all the geo fall in front of you. Let's see if both racers can get it. Tombo misses it, and fireb0rn gets it. I think that may put fireb0rn in the lead, because the backup Tombo had to do is really awkward. Really unfortunate to see that. Yeah, surprisingly precise, maybe. The sprite of Vengefly King, when he's holding Zote like that, is not accurate at all to where you have to hit him. It's a much smaller hitbox. And so yeah, another thing that some people in chat are noting, Tombo is 13 geo ahead of fireb0rn. fireb0rn, not an awful geo shape. Could potentially have some issues if he misses a random drop in fungal wastes. But that's not really here at the moment. Really nice Mothwing Cloak pickup. Only 4 seconds apart between the two runners. 7:57 by Fire, 8:01 by Tombo. But yeah, fireb0rn showing off a really strong Hornet fight. Really doing a lot to make up for the bad RNG on the Balder. Alright, so coming up, both racers headed straight into fungal wastes. This is really just a quick 1-minute dip. Going to pick up Mantis Claw, never go back. Not a whole lot else of value in the area, but Mantis Claw itself is going to be required for just about everything else we want to do in this run. So So yeah, see a bit of movement optimization here, trying to keep inventory drops going as long as possible, not land on unnecessary platforms, all the usual stuff you expect from platforming and speedruns. Coming up in just a couple of rooms, be seeing 2 skips right in a row, which really carry the weight of this section. First, the explosion pogo, watching fireb0rn. He's going to drop down and aggro this enemy. And will he get it? Oh, fireb0rn going for a very, very new and infamous version of the explosion pogo. Does not quite get it. We see him and Tombo executing their backups pretty perfectly. And fireb0rn in dire geo position. He does not have enough at the moment to buy Shaman Stones, so we will have to see some backups from him. Yeah, actually, I think fireb0rn has fallen behind because of that explosion pogo. Yeah, fireb0rn 3 seconds behind and down a bit of geo. So we're going to have to see him pull out the backups. There's a few enemies you can kill on the way to Grossmother, but it's going to be a few seconds either way. So Tombo is a pretty decently healthy lead at this point. See if he can keep it up to Dreamnail. Yeah, fireb0rn has gone for that explosion pogo in both of his races now. Has not gotten it. fireb0rn a little confused in that room, possibly contemplating going after the Geo node. That would give him enough. He opts against it, though. Yeah, this is one of the things which you don't really necessarily think of how to handle in speedruns. Certainly for a runner of fireb0rn's caliber, entering the Grossmother split with this geo count would be a reset, probably. You just can't get 4 geo in with any kind of speed. All right, this is enough if he gets no geo stuck in the ceiling, I believe. All right, fireb0rn back on track. Kind of sketchy Grossmother position. The geo can spawn in out of bounds, as it did. Oh no, poor fireb0rn. Oh, this is a disaster. fireb0rn's gonna have to drop down, kill the enemies. We'll see, maybe he'll rescue Sly early here. Not making the split-second reaction to rescue Sly early, so that'll lose a few more seconds there. Yeah, this is a lot of this is just bad RNG for fireb0rn. Missing Shaman Stone, maybe, or maybe that was intentional. I can't explain that, but yeah, a lot of this geo issues for fireb0rn really is just bad RNG. The enemies you encounter early on are random in terms of what direction the geo spawns in, and so sometimes you have to lose time to pick all of it up. And just walking past it will mean you end up unable to finish the route, and so I think Tombo also just to lose a bit of time, pick up a bit more geo. And we see he is 20, whereas fireb0rn is at 0. But yeah, a 10-second difference now. Maybe even 11, chat is saying. Definitely, probably not what people were expecting. Tombo is certainly competent, though. Pretty good chance he can hang on to this. Really depends on mid to late game, though, because the real skill separation tends to show first at Watcher Knights and then again at Umu and Hera. Right now, kind of a calmer part of the run, entering the Dreamdale sequence. This is 100% consistent platforming. Not much to optimize here. There's two routes through the Dreamdale platforms. And we see both racers almost in sync on the restream, jumping off the platform. The Seer actually spawns in a little bit faster in game time after you fail the first gauntlet once. And we also see fireb0rn and Tombo taking different routes. fireb0rn maybe a little ill-advised on that route, as he does do several wall clings and finally miss one. Alright, fireb0rn is through, though, with only the one fall. Probably lost maybe another 5 seconds there, I want to say. It's kind of hard to say. But yeah, this is a best of one. Both of these runners are still in the winner's bracket, of course. So the winner will advance to play the winner of X2U versus Amathity. And the loser will be waiting for, I believe, the winner of Lullacry. No. The winner of Simo and Apocalypse Cow, which is our next race tonight. But yeah, Tombo definitely has the potential here. I didn't read off PBs at the start of this race. The PBs are respectively 33:24 for fireb0rn. That is the official world record right now. And then I want to say 35:30 for Tombo. But don't let the 35 distract you. Tombo is definitely consistent and very experienced at racing the game. So, yeah, the 2-minute gap, potentially not as big as it seems on paper. Yeah, it's kind of hard for me to tell how the runners are doing. I haven't been paying too close attention, but it'd be really cool if we did see a PB from Tombo or something. This has not been a bad run at all so far from him. Let's see, it does look like Tombo has the lead for the time being, so I'm going to go ahead and switch audio over. I'll also get a bit of music going into the Watcher Knights fight, maybe. Maybe not. A lot of racers don't like to play with music. They feel like it can be distracting for various reasons. Alright, so we see a bit of the lever skip here, and fireb0rn gets through first. Tombo not losing too terribly much time there. If you're a bit confused as to why it's black there, basically, ordinarily going through that room, you would hit you'd have to go through an enemy gauntlet in the bottom left. And then that unlocks a lever in the bottom left, which lets you get into the bottom right. And then that has a trigger to remove the dark glare and then let you finally see that area next to the lever. But we skip all of that by hitting the shortcut through the floor. And then, as you saw, both runners have to navigate blindly. Tombo got a little lost. But not to distract from the fact that we are now in the hardest boss fight of the category, Watcher Knights. There's going to be 5 of these after hitting the chandelier. Main thing is just very fireball heavy combat, trying to keep up your souls so that you can still damage them during the rolls. And above all else, yeah, not taking too much damage, as this is a very difficult boss to manage with their current movement. You know, in an ordinary playthrough, you'd have several nail upgrades usually, you know, maybe triple nail damage, plus spell upgrades, so at least double spell damage, plus health upgrades, plus, yeah, maybe Shade Cloak for iframes on dash, Dive for iframes on spellcast. I mean, if you see Watcher Knights fight from maybe 106, where they have Fluke Nest and thus can 2-shot Watcher Knights, or each individual knight, I mean, it is a world of difference compared to any percent, where it's a very stressful 1-minute fight. Unfortunately, both racers getting through very cleanly. See a slightly unusual choice by Tombo to get the Geo early after Watcher Knights. fireb0rn will be grabbing that on the way back down. But yeah, it does sound like fireb0rn had a much better Watcher Knights fight. I couldn't watch both of them at the same time. Yeah, all right. At this point, both runners are really just going to try and get out of City of Tears about as fast as possible after getting a bit more Geo. Really, the main concern at this point is to make sure they can get Crystal Heart to finish the run. You do need Crystal Heart for a few mandatory acid skips. To get that, you need Lantern, and to get Lantern, you need a lot of Geo. But yeah, fireb0rn definitely took a very substantial lead thanks to an exceptional Watcher Knights fight on his side. He has labbed out that fight to a very impressive degree. So at this point, Tombo doesn't have many immediate opportunities to make up the time. Lantern tends to be a very safe segment, barring any platforming catastrophes. And really, for a runner of fireb0rn's caliber, I would expect the same to be true of Crystal Heart. So really, if you're Tombo, you're praying for Umu to intervene on your behalf. And given the RNG fireb0rn has gotten so far, I wouldn't put it past Umu to decide the race arbitrarily. Yep, both runners now hit the magic number 2,322. And they will be ready to finish out the game in terms of Geo. Yep, so with 3,000 or 2,322 Geo, that will be enough to buy King Station, buy Lantern, buy the Crystal Peak Toll, kill 2 Devoutes in Deepnest for a total of 78 more Geo, then open the final stack station to get out of Deepnest. No one wants to walk out of Deepnest. Alright, entering Crystal Peak on fireb0rn's side. Don't know if he's watching the restream or not, but after that start, it looks like we are going to see a Pogax from him. Very well executed. A deceptively difficult skip to set up, though as of relatively recently, a few more consistent setups have been found. Be a little surprised to see Tombo also do that, but you never know. That does save about a little less than 3 seconds. Over. Up, up, up. I stand corrected. Oh, but Tombo misses it. Really unfortunate. You hate to see it. Alright, he does get it second try though. Although that room reset cost a ton of time. Probably an Umu cycle. But you know what? Let's give a round of applause for Tombo anyways, because honestly, doing Pogax after that setback makes him the winner in our hearts. Alright, so fireb0rn taking a bit of intentional damage in this room. Basically, you want to take damage early on the laser cycle. That lets you beat the lasers for the rest of the room. Otherwise, you do have to wait, and waiting is rather slow. So a lot of the Crystal Heart split, which you don't necessarily see in the run, is managing HP, because there's maybe 3 to 4 different damage boosts you can do along the way that save time. And so you have to pick and choose to make the most of what little health you have, and without risking a death. We've seen a couple of deaths in Crystal Peak this tournament, and they are extremely devastating. All right, meanwhile, fireb0rn side, he has developed a pretty healthy lead now. I'd say well over 20 seconds. And so he's going to make his way to Umu at this point. Little ledge grab there. You can get a super dash off the wall and skip the acid bit. One of the easier ones to do. Very likely dev intended. And definitely at the heart of any percent, because if you could not skip Isma's tier, this would be a much, much longer run. You can see all skills for an example of what this category would have to do to get Isma's tier. But basically it would be probably about a 1 to 2 minute detour back to City of Tears. So maybe not much longer, but a little longer. Alright, fireb0rn possibly a little precarious going into this 2 cycle. Yeah, he misses the Umu 2 cycle, so we'll see what Tombo can do. This is potentially an opening. fireb0rn doesn't have great health, so it is at least theoretically possible fireb0rn could lose control of the fight and have to accept in 4 cycle. It doesn't look like it though. This is a pretty good position for the 2nd cycle. Yeah, as long as fireb0rn doesn't make any mistakes, this should be a pretty easy 3 cycle. And Tombo still could get a 2 cycle. That'll be a hefty amount of time saved. We'll see if he can pull it off. Basically, fireb0rn? Okay, he does pull it off. fireb0rn escaping with his life. Umu has been a huge killer of runs in this tournament. Ooh, and Tombo misses the 2 cycle. You really do hate to see it. Alright, don't die, Tombo. Yeah, death at this point would really seal the deal for fireb0rn, because it really isn't likely that fireb0rn will die later on. As I was saying, and as we really did see on both runners' ends, Umu sort of has been the sleeper killer of this tournament. We've seen a lot of newer runners squeak out Watcher Knights fights and then die to Umu, even though Umu is generally considered one of the easier boss fights. Just because, it's kind of hard to heal on Umu, and the strategy we use in any percent really does encourage a lot of damage boosting. So yeah, even though Tombo is still about 20 seconds behind fireb0rn, it is always great to see both runners survive. And the race is not over yet, because fireb0rn and Tombo both are entering the hardest movement split of the category. Right now, both runners have to get to Hera. They're not going to be taking a casual route to Hera, though. They're going to be taking a bit of a shortcut through Queen's Gardens, which is going to involve some very difficult skips and difficult enemies. The first one is called QGA. This is another acid skip like the one they used to get into Fog Canyon. You're going to see fireb0rn dash into the wall, then wall cling, then wall jump off the opposite end. Much more precise than it looks. Meanwhile, Tombo sort of having a rough start here. You see he has a glitched health counter, but actually is at 4 health because of that unfortunate acid dunk. And you really don't want to lose unnecessary health here. Yeah, fireb0rn handling Hera like a pro. We have not seen any mistakes so far. Well, I say that, and then he misses. Little hazard board there. Basically, there is a box in every room. Basically, you enter the box and the game changes your hazard respawn point, and in that room, Team Cherry made the box just a little too big, so it pokes up through the thorns. If you fall in just the right position, you'll hit the box and respawn below the very long thorns gauntlet. So yeah, just a couple seconds lost for fireb0rn. Certainly has evolved a very strong lead at this point. Tombo needs a Beast Den miracle at this point, but it is certainly still close. To the extent of maybe, I want to say 45 seconds apart. Enough that, an unfortunate devout death, would instantly put Tombo back in the race. And I say that, look at that health counter on fireb0rn's side. fireb0rn at 3 HP entering Beast Den. A little sketchy, and Tombo playing it safe, so he has a very real chance of being able to capitalize if fireb0rn takes, a spider hit into spikes or something. So yeah, entering Beast Den here, basically a very long and linear maze. 2 Devouts you have to kill. We'll see some damage boost strats on them because you can use iframes to avoid their double damage attack. fireb0rn taking down the first Devout very easily. But of course, because of that damage boost, he's now down to 2 HP. But he's getting excellent spider RNG. Yep, through the most difficult part. Shouldn't have any other problems. I say that. Another commentator's curse dropped on fireb0rn. But actually, maybe a blessing in disguise because this Devout is a bit safer when you go into it knowing that you can't damage boost. I say again, and then fireb0rn decides to give everyone a heart attack by going for parry strats on the final Devout. So, very lucky the game decided not to eat as input. Parry's notoriously awful in this game. Poorly designed through and through. But fireb0rn survives. Gonna get a full refill on Hera, of course. And now it's just down to Hollow Knight. You see fireb0rn 31-21 exiting this, looking at probably a high 34 here. Tombo's late game has sort of really caused him to fall behind. Just a little bit less polish on Hera is really costing him in every room. So you see, getting mostly the same spider pattern as fireb0rn even, but these spider patterns are just so difficult to handle if you haven't done this room hundreds and hundreds of times. But yeah, Tombo gonna risk it. He's also going into the last Devout with 1 HP. And I see some people talking about Tombo's PB in the chat. Tombo's PB is a 35-30 unofficially. For reasons unbeknownst, Tombo decided not to submit it, and therefore the current time is inaccurate. fireb0rn, not quite in PB range, unsurprisingly. But it does really put things in perspective for him to be on roughly high 34 pace against Tombo's really high 35 pace if he has an exceptionally good Hollow Knight, more likely to see a low 36. Yeah. 36, very respectable race time, but against a runner like fireb0rn, I mean, you would need a miracle. And that is not an attack on Tombo, that's a testament to fireb0rn. Even with 7 spits, fireb0rn is gonna pull out something like that era and, knock everyone's socks off. Meanwhile, entering the Hollow Knight fight, we're seeing some very clean combat from fireb0rn. Really just laying on the fireballs exceptionally well. That first phase went by really quickly. Taking a bit more damage now, not a big deal. He has plenty of health. Probably not too eager to see the bullet hell attack, since that is a little slow. And he misses Scream Skip afterwards, so not going to be fireb0rn's best time on Hollow Knight, but still a very nice kill overall. yeah, fireb0rn is done. Right around probably a 34-45 or so for him. Not even. Yep, so fireb0rn will finish right as Tombo enters the fight. So it really was about a 2-minute lead at the end. Mostly thanks to that era. You know, as I said, that was the most movement-intensive split of the game, and we really saw where fireb0rn's practice paid off. Okay, so with that, Ark can finish and see if we can't get him in for an interview.
Hey, how's it going? Oh, sorry, one sec. I have to get my headphones on.
Sure.
All right, I'm good.
Okay.
How's it going?
How are you?
I don't know how I feel about that Umu.
Yeah, I mean, the run encountered quite a bit of bad RNG from the 7th split early on, then the Umu issues.
Yeah.
You really pulled off an exceptional era, though, to finish it off, I thought.
I was pretty happy with my era. Like, I'm confident in it as long as I get first try QGA, and if I don't, then I'll probably tilt a little bit.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm glad I did.
Yeah, that can make a huge difference.
Yeah. I did get a bit frustrated at the early RNG, but I knew I wasn't playing great anyway, so it was kind of whatever.
Yeah. And I'm sure it probably won't be too surprising to you that the Boulder RNG did the Tombo had early, as did the Geo Trouble. But I believe you made it back up on Watcher Nights, and from then on, I think your play also really improved. You know,
Okay.
accepting.
Yeah, I was happy with the second half of the run mostly. Like I feel that Watcher Nights fight was probably better than my average Watcher Nights fight, like in runs, even though it wasn't amazing. So I was happy with the second half at least.
Yep. So that was nice. Had a really good crystal peak with the first try block hex, of course.
Yeah, I just kind of went for that on a whim.
Yeah, but both of you went for it. Tombo got it second try after resetting the room.
Oh, nice.
So,
I'm glad we both did it.
Yeah, that was cool. And of course, the nice thing about winning is you have a few more shots to go for your explosion logo.
Yeah,
You know,
I got a couple more tries.
Although, you know, I don't know if that's something you'll want to do against X2U or me.
Definitely doing it.
Either one you got. Go ahead, Tombo.
Hey guys, excuse me. Hey guys. I assume you won.
I got a 34-40.
Yeah, fireb0rn about a minute 40 ahead, I guess, at the end. But you did really well, Tombo. You were in the lead right up to Watcher Nights, I want to say.
Yeah, that Watcher Nights was a bit rough. That QGA was all nerves. I had like 3 good times where I got across high enough and just fell in on the other side.
Oh, that's the worst.
Yeah, you just missed fireb0rn talking in the interview about how big a difference it makes getting QGA first try. You know, with getting tilted on the era split and all.
Yeah, and I actually made it across the first try, and then I didn't jump off the wall and fell back in, so that was rough.
So yeah, both of you 3-cycled, and I think even after Ubu, Tombo was maybe, I want to say 40 seconds to a minute behind, but then fireb0rn just put out an exceptional era, and that really sealed the deal in the race.
At that point, when I knew I didn't have a chance, I kind of threw in some safety heals just to make sure I got through it. I didn't want to make like a long race out of it by dying in Beast Den.
And
Yeah.
you know, speaking of dying in Vista, do we have any comment, fireb0rn?
That parry at the very end was extremely scary. I thought I died for a second because of the freeze frames.
You weren't the only one who thought that.
Holy moly. I just laughed for like half a minute straight after that.
Yeah, I felt like I was a little shaky in the early game. That false night, I got turned around and swung the other direction a couple times, but I felt like my I'll have to look. I'm not sure if my Mantis Claw might have been a gold, but I felt really good about that.
Yeah, you had a very
Oh,
solid
nice.
early game. You were about 10 seconds ahead or so. Possibly also because fireb0rn got a 7 spit, but don't let that distract from the high quality of your play.
We got another race coming up here, so we'll kind of shift over here to those guys, I think. But I had a good time, and GG's again, Fire.
Yeah, GG's,
Yeah.
man. Was fun.
Stay tuned to Apocalypse Cow versus Simo. Actually, the winner of that will be playing Tombo.
All right, I'll have to keep an eye on this one.
Yeah. And meanwhile, fireb0rn advances. We'll find out who he plays next Tuesday. So,
Monkas.
stay tuned, everyone.